They want it so bad that they always find a way to win. You don't become that person by taking that easy, comfy path in life. You become that person when the chips are stacked up against you, when your back's against the wall and you burn all the fucking chips and you go all in, life or death. When you incorporate the life or death mentality into your existence, you will see what I'm talking about. But if you don't, you're always going to be a subpar, mediocre motherfucker that never achieves at his highest potential. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Crane. You guys, this has been one of the best weeks of my life. I'm going to get right into it. But before I do, share this message, subscribe, promote the channel from you guys. People need to hear this message, okay? So the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks roughly, my wife's been super sick. She's had the worst morning sickness I've ever seen. So for the last 2.5 weeks, I've had to step up. I've been mom and dad, right? I've been working from home, taking care of the kids, cleaning the house, doing the dishes, prepping the dinners, working, taking coaching calls. I've been doing it all. And I learned a really, insightful lesson the last couple of weeks. I love to be in a place in life where the pressure's on me. And this is something I've done since I started transforming my life. Mind you, I changed my life in a 6x8 jail cell while I was facing life in prison. I don't know many situations where the pressure is on more than that type of scenario. Like, it was fucking life or death. And it taught me that unless it's life or death for you, you're never going to feel the way you want, and you're never going to achieve at the level you want to achieve. So many of you want to make a bunch of money, but you're still in this 9-to-5 that's paying you pennies. So many of you want to create this dream life for you and your family, but you're scared to spend money and invest in yourself. Like, you won't risk it all. You won't bet on yourself. You won't burn the ships, and you're never going to reach the pinnacle of success in life until you're willing to do that. Now, I wouldn't tell all of you just to go out and burn the ships right now, because are you the type of person that can actually pull it off? Like, are you the caliber of individual in your mindset, your habits, your self-belief that can create success and results in your life? You see, being in prison for 5.5 years prepared me to burn the ships and go all in when I got out. I had spent over 2,000 days developing my mindset, discipline. I was so relentless that I had a 100% belief and conviction in my abilities. Nothing would fucking stop me. So when I got out, I spent 2 months living in a trailer on my aunt and uncle's property, and my uncle has a tree service business in Santa Barbara, California that's super successful. He's a 7-figure business owner. It's the #1 tree service in the county. We live near Montecito, Hope Ranch, very affluent areas, lots of money, a lot of opportunity. And he wanted me to help him run the company. And eventually there was an opportunity to take it over. Most people would have been so excited to get out of prison and have a sure thing waiting for them. But dude, I wasn't. I went back and worked with him for a couple weeks. I think it was like a month, and I was miserable every day because that wasn't my purpose. That wasn't the calling that God put in my heart. It didn't matter if he was paying me $1,000 a day. Like, it wasn't worth it in my eyes. So I remember I literally packed up all my shit and I put a duffel bag over my shoulder. I took $700 and I flew back to Santa Barbara. And I flew to Santa Barbara with no place to live, no job, and no car. And in the midst of that flight, the pilot, who was a friend of mine, looked at me because we were in a little single engine Cessna, and he goes, "So what's your plan, dude?" I was like, "Bro, I have no plan. I'm just fucking going for it." Like, that's the level of conviction that I had at that time, and nothing was going to stop me. I was going to find a way to persevere, and I was going to find a way to win. Like, when you want something that bad, you will not be denied. I would have slept on a park bench for weeks if that's what it took. I would have fucking ate out of trash cans if that's what it took. But you know what? Something magical happens when you're willing to bet on yourself and go all in. The pieces come together, okay? Very seldom do you find yourself just in a place where you're in ruins because of a decision that aligned to your calling. When you align your actions and beliefs with your vision and your calling, it works out. And it might not work out the way you intended it to or envisioned, but it always works out. And I remember that day I landed in Santa Barbara. I went to a gym and I got a job as a personal trainer. Then I went to my friend Nick's dad's house, the pilot who flew me into Santa Barbara. I went to his dad's house and he had a room for rent. I gave him all my money. Now I had a job that I was going to start the next day at 5 a.m. training clients in a gym and a place to stay. And then I went and found an old beat up car that my uncle's mechanic let me borrow for 2 weeks. And the car was so smashed up and beat up, it barely ran. I didn't care though. That was the beginning of my journey to create the ultimate life. And that's what I mean when I talk about going all in and burning the ships. Like, imagine if I came back to Santa Barbara and I didn't get the job and I didn't find a place to stay and I didn't get a car, right? But I never fucking thought about that. In fact, that wasn't even a possibility in my reality. Like in my mind, in my thoughts, that wasn't even a possibility that could exist. Therefore, it never fucking happened. You see, your guys' biggest problem is you entertain fears and worst case scenarios, and you entertain them so frequently that they actually manifest in your life. What if you never thought about them and you never even believed that they could be an option? Don't you think you'd be more successful? Yes, you would. Don't you think if you never believed or thought about working a 9-to-5 you hated, or staying in that toxic relationship, or being a fat, lazy fucking guy, like whatever it is that's ailing you right now that you know doesn't align to your best self, if you could train your mind to eliminate that as an option and you have the courage to truly go all in towards your dream, you will always manifest your dream. Whatever you think about and envision and expect to transpire in your life, it will become a reality. Too many of you expect the things that you don't want to actually become your reality, and that's why they are. Straight up, right? So throughout my journey of entrepreneurship, the last 5 years, I've continuously taken big risks. I've invested all of the money to my name multiple times to get business coaching, to go on trips, to learn at conferences, to get around the right people, like to invest in myself, my personal growth and my business development. I've put all my money in the pot and said, I'm fucking all in. Many times, more times than I can count on one hand, while raising a family, while taking care of my wife and my young children. Like so many of you are scared to go all in because what if? Dude, when you operate from fear, you never get what you want. When you live as a scared coward, you never get what you want. You get the crumbs that are left over from the people that have the courage to go all in. I'm telling you, man. And this message isn't for the average person. This message is for the top 1%ers in life. If you want to reach the top 1% financially, physically, mentally, in your relationships, in all aspects, this message is for you, and this is how it's done, okay? Now, recently, I've been crushing it. I'm thriving. I got 12 team members. Our business is going to become a 9-figure business in the next 3 years. We're making an impact coaching men and women all over the country, okay? Mindset, fitness, nutrition. My wife is thriving. My children are thriving. Like, life is good. And then there's always adversity, though, you guys. I've been through a lot of adversity on my journey. From my daughter being in the hospital with a life-threatening experience, the birth of my son, Preston, which was really scary, and we almost lost him, like we didn't know what was going to happen. Stuff going on in the courts with my oldest son, Mason, and custody battles and the stress that brought forth. Like, there's always shit going on. Always. Very seldom is there just these quiet, calm waters. It's always stormy and tumultuous, but I love that shit because it keeps me on my toes and it keeps me hungry and focused and motivated. Every step of the way, the constant has been I show up and I carry out my daily non-negotiables. I never stop working on myself because I got to keep that armor strong so I can be the man, the leader, and the protector for my family. And that gives me the energy and courage and belief in myself to continue to pursue my vision and my dreams. And so I've been in a good stretch lately, though, where things are going pretty damn well. And then all of a sudden, my wife's feeling sick. And it's been a lot. You know, I have 3 children, like I said. Hundreds of coaching clients, 12 team members, employees, and people that I got to delegate things to. I mean, there's a million things. So the last 2 weeks have been like the busiest weeks of my life for a long time. From the moment I open my eyes to the moment I go to sleep, I do not stop moving. There's always something to do, whether it's in the business, for my children, for my wife. Like, I'm talking about nonstop. And I remember like a couple weeks ago, I was like, all right, I'm going to step up. I'm going to take care of everything. I'm not going to get angry, upset, irritable. I'm not going to lose my cool. I'm not going to deviate from my character as the man my children and my wife need. I'm not going to miss on my meals. I'm not going to miss on my workouts. I'm not going to miss on my messages and social media. I'm going to do everything bigger and better. I'm going to use this experience as a catalyst to be more fired up, more inspired, more diligent, more dedicated, more determined, right? And so the last 2 weeks, I've crushed it. I've crushed it for my wife, for my kids, in all aspects of life. And I had this moment yesterday. I was like, damn, dude, like, I feel so good right now. I feel so proud of myself because I haven't let any situations in my life deter me from who I knew I should be, right? And a lot of people do. Something bad happens, you make it worse with a bitch attitude, by complaining, by becoming a victim. You sabotage yourself because you go to the bar and drink, you start binge eating on food, and you do stuff that makes your situation worse, right? And so I realized, like, for me, I need to put a lot of pressure on myself because just like a diamond, my best self is forged under that pressure. And this is something I've done every step of the way to continue to grow and hit new levels. So look at the biggest takeaway that I've had from this last 2 weeks is the more pressure that's on for me, the better I perform, right? When there's no room for error, when I have to show up every day and hit everything 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and there's no room to be disorganized, unfocused, there's no moments where I can just sit down and be lazy. Like when I have to put myself in a situation where it's sink or swim, that's when I operate best. And for a lot of you, if you had the courage to put yourself in a situation where it was life or death, where you were going to go completely broke and bankrupt, or you're going to become that 7-8 figure earner you want to be, where you were going to like lose it all or you were going to gain it all, dude, that's oftentimes, that's the best place you could ever be. But so many of you are too scared to do that in your life, and you're never going to get what you want. Seriously, you're just going to keep trying to do it the old-fashioned way. Safety first. I'm going to be cautious. I'm going to save my money. I'm going to just do it the sure, right way. Dude, and that you're not the person, you're not creating the person that can achieve at a monumental level. The person that can achieve at a monumental level is so delusional that they always believe they'll be successful. They're so driven that they will never stop or slow down. They want it so bad that they always find a way to win. You don't become that person by taking that easy, comfy path in life. You become that person when the chips are stacked up against you, when your back's against the wall and you burn all the fucking chips and you go all in, life or death. When you incorporate the life or death mentality into your existence, you will see what I'm talking about. But if you don't, you're always going to be a subpar, mediocre motherfucker that never achieves at his highest potential.